And we are live with our very first show of 2023. A very warm welcome to the MMK show. And today we're going to be talking about our upcoming India sourcing trip. We're going to be answering all of your questions and we're going to be going over the itinerary of the trip, talking about all the experts that we have with us on the trip. And we're also going to be talking about why you should be on this trip. Marg and Kevin, Happy New Year to you guys. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. We're really well. In the middle of summer here, and you're in the middle of winter. Megala's in a jumper and wearing t-shirts. It's a bit of a change of scenery.
Happy New Year, Megala.
Happy New Year, Kev. So yeah, I've got my heater on. It's so cold here.
Yeah. We've been really busy, Megla, sort of organising our other little trip that we're doing later as well. So we've been rather
Exactly.
all through the Christmas period, sort of putting things together. But anyway, it's all good.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and we're finally going to be able to, travel more this year. So really, really excited about that. For 3 years, we haven't been able to travel, but we did our India sourcing trip in October. That was absolutely fantastic, and we're so looking forward to our India sourcing trip in March. And then we've got Vietnam sourcing trip coming up in April. So lots and lots of travel happening. But today we want to talk about India sourcing trip. And, if you have any questions about the trip, feel free to type them in the comment section and we'll be addressing all your questions. We're going to go over the itinerary of the trip and other details so that, you know if the trip is right for you or not. And look who we've got here. Andy. Hi, Andy. Good morning.
Good morning,
Happy
Andy.
New Year, Andy. Good to see you, mate.
Happy New Year. Yeah. Andy's awesome. Andy was on the trip as well in October. And he had a ball. He was so energetic right throughout the trip. Like most people were getting tired, but Andy was like, oh my God, he was like going strong right from day one until the last day. He was so enthusiastic. Okay, so let's get started. What we'll do is I'm going to share screen and we'll go through the website of India sourcing trip and just walk you through the various benefits of attending the trip, etc. And first of all, quick reminder that our early bird prices end on Jan 15. So this is this coming Sunday. And so you have a few days to save $500 on your trip. So if you are sure that you want to come on the trip, now is a good time to buy your ticket and reserve a seat at this rate. And, if you need a couple more weeks, you can reserve a seat now and then make the payment later as well. Okay, so once you go on the website, first of all, you can see this video, which is a recap of the previous trip. And it gives you a really good idea of all the different aspects of the trip, everything that we do. But I think the first thing that we want to talk about is who is this trip for and why should you attend this trip? So Mark, I'm going to hand it over to you. And why don't you tell us about, the benefits of basically attending this trip?
Okay. Yeah, well, where do I start? Look, there is just so many, I think, positive things for people why they should actually do the trip. And I think the number one is if they're doing this as their business and they want to kickstart and improve their business, there is nothing better, I think, than actually getting on the ground and seeing where their business products are made. I mean, I think that's one of the key things is to go and touch and feel the products. A lot of the times you might just get a sample. You don't really know what, everything's happening, or you don't know your supplier. And the chances are if you go to the trip, you'll go to the fair and meet your supplier. So I think, the best benefit of the trip, no doubt, is what we aim to, or what we go for, is the Delhi Fair, which is we actually go on 3 days. We attend the fair. Now, when we're there, it's go, go, go. You are meeting suppliers, finding so many unreal products, things that you mightn't have even thought was made in India, or a product you mightn't have even thought you could even sell on Amazon till you actually see it. People found so many pieces of gold, I think, on the trip. So I think that and what we give people is a diary to write down what their products as they go around the supplier in the booth. Well, a couple of the people on the trip after day one, their book was onto the last page. They'd filled so many good products that they wanted to go away and research. And so they've got like a year's supply of, products that they can go and look at and add to their, sort of portfolio as they go along. So I think that's probably, the biggest thing. And look, by sourcing products direct from the factory, which you are doing because you're actually not cutting out any middlemen or, any sort of along the way. So you are actually paying the supplier. So there's nobody, adding commissions on the way as you go along. So I think that also does, help people a lot, especially if you're in retail. A lot of people have just been doing their retail from the rep that comes around, or if you're doing an Etsy store or something like that, and you're not actually going direct to a manufacturer, that's where you can throw away a lot of your margin. So I think that's really one thing. Another great thing is obviously we have coaches on the trip that have been doing Amazon sourcing products, attending fairs for some of the many years. So you can learn a lot from those people. I think that really helps you. Speeding up your sourcing, well, that definitely saves the time, because if you go to the fair and you find a few products, you can talk to the manufacturer. You might want to tweak it. You can say, can you turn this, the other way? Can we do this? And you can have an answer there instead of doing an email and coming back and he doesn't really know what you mean. I mean, you can, grab a few items and show them and talk and, get your hands going and really communicate what you need. So I think that it makes, and some people actually came back from the fair and basically placed an order. They had found their products, they knew what they wanted, and they're doing, some orders straight away. So I think that also helps. And look, if you're maybe sourcing from China and at the moment you're looking for an alternative, or you're, finding that it's a bit dicey at the moment with all the COVID and, the things that are happening in China, that you might want to either move your sourcing or have two factories. This is a good place to find suppliers, because not everything that's made in China is made in India, but if it's handmade, if it's wood, if it's metal, if it's glass, basically anything that's not plastic and silicone type materials, macrame, all the, cottons, everything like that. Cotton's one of the biggest producers of sort of materials to make sheets, anything like that. So you can get lots and lots of products in those sort of things from India. So you don't have to actually, just stay in China. You can go and see what you can get. And look, I think you can also, I suppose, once you've met a supplier, what happened with a couple of people, they actually met their suppliers, exchanged the cards and everything, and then got home and just emailed them, but didn't say, I met you at the fair. And what happened was they just didn't really get a response. And then they went back and said, oh, I met you at the fair and I've got your card. Well, then it was, hello, what can we do for you? Can we help you? Because they know these people aren't just sending them, I'd hate to think how many emails these suppliers get every day from people just thinking, oh, I'll email all these suppliers. But, they know that these people have invested in their business. They've paid the money. They've gone to India. They've attended the trade show. So that they're serious people. They're not just playing. So I think you'll get a lot better response from your suppliers by doing that. And I think also once you've seen the products and you know what they make, and you'll learn on the trip where they're made. We actually talk about which cities things are made from, how to move your goods logistically from different areas, what ports the goods go from. So it's, as well as going to the fair, there's a lot of training as in shipping and QC, all the help that you need to do that. So it's a one-stop sort of shop. Once you're on the trip, we have solicitors, we have everyone that you would need to source out of India there at the conference we have on the first day to give you that information. So I think, there's just so many benefits from going. Megala, do you want to add anything to that I've not covered?
No, I think you've covered everything. But another advantage is that you meet so many service providers. And, we do a full day conference where we teach you all about sourcing from India. We've got quality control specialists and sourcing specialists and all of these different service providers that you will need when you're sourcing from India. And so building those connections are also so important. Of course, you've got relationships with the suppliers at the trade fair, but then, relationships with these additional service providers, I think that's really, really important as you start your sourcing journey. So we do that, and you can, talk to our solicitor, our quality control, packaging companies as well. So at the conference, at the back of the room, we've got tables where all of these service providers come in and they talk about their services. They've got flyers, pamphlets, so you can get a good idea of how much they charge, how they work, and build relationships with them.
Yeah, and I think probably the
I was
other
gonna
thing that I
say,
didn't cover, oh, sorry, Kev, just 1 second, is that
yeah,
you can be sitting on the bus next to $1 million seller. You don't know who else is on that trip. And, you're with them for breakfast, lunch and dinner, probably till midnight most nights, or whatever time you leave the bar. But, I mean, quite often, and there were some really big sellers on that trip with a lot of experience, and how good is it to be able to pick their brain, or even take them and say, could you come and have a look at these few products? I'm a bit iffy. What do you think? And just get other people. You don't have to rely on the experts we have on board, because some of these people might just have a totally different idea, or might have been researching that and gone, no, it didn't work. They might have tried it and it didn't work. At least you're getting the benefit of that experience, of these whole people's journey. And look, everyone shares and is really, really helpful. So I think, that's another great benefit. Sorry, Kev, go.
No, I was just going to add that, the conference on the first day, it was like we had Megla and you, the people, the speakers, they were just like having a big toolbox, and everybody that spoke had, the services required, that, the tools you need when you go to a place like the Delhi Fair. But, it's not just the fair to guide you through the fair, but all the things that you need in e-commerce. So, it was all connected and tied up, and it was really a nice package. So anybody that's thinking that I'm just going to go and walk the floor, there's a lot of things on the side that that you will get to learn. And like Margaret said, it's who you you've got to go with an open mind and talk and be sort of, if you're sitting next to someone, get a conversation going. You never know who you're sitting next to, like Mark said, and that's how you learn. And a lot of people come back and sort of said to us, the value that they got was really, the mateship, the people that they met. They've made some lifelong friends. They've come back, and some of them are got masterminds happening. They've buddied up. And because that it's amazing that even on a 10-day tour, how people can buddy up for life. They never know each other before, and they sort of go on a tour, and they're so close, and they help each other, and for some reason, and it's true though, isn't it? It's like a close encounter, and people come back and they sort of keep that happening, and so that's been good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So, Kevin, we also want to talk about the Moradabad trip, because I know that is one of your favorite parts of the entire trip, and you had so much fun at the factories, and you really used your hands to work on some of the products, right? So,
yeah, no, sure. I used to love going to the factories and have a look at how things are done and what's required. The trip that we went, it was 2 days, 2 nights. After the Delhi Fair is finished, we sort of all hop on a coach and we go to Moradabad, get us settled in a hotel, and then we go on the factory tours. And all the owners that we went to, they're all very gracious, and it's an open door, and they let us come in, have a tour of the factory, have some great products in their showroom. So anybody that's looking at product design, some kind of product designs, there is absolutely thousands of ideas in some of the places. And you can, if you're keyword minded, you can look at products and straight away you can see that for Amazon. But Amazon aside, there's a lot of opportunity for e-commerce across the board and retail. There is so many opportunities. When you go into these showrooms and you see the products, they're stacked 3 or 4 racks high, Megla, aren't they?
Yeah.
In some cases. But it just gives you, lots and lots of ideas, and they don't mind you taking photographs. They don't mind you touching, feeling. There's a lot of products that are sort of what we call knockdown, or can be flat packed, and that sort of gives you another spin on getting a product down to a size that's relative to be able to send into Amazon. Just a fantastic way of looking. So anybody that's looking at coming to Moradabad or you know the trip, once we go, there's an opportunity to talk to the factory owners. There's an opportunity to talk to the designers in the factory. There's an opportunity to see, in fact, if that factory could even scale to your needs. Some of the factories we go to are smaller, sort of family orientated, to some of them who we know are dealing with some of the biggest brands in the world.
How many cartons were stacked down some of the halls? We could hardly walk along, and some of the names on the cartons, because you could actually see who had bought them, and they were some of the big retailers in the States. So it was, you know, so you go, oh, hang on, we're in with the big fish here. It was quite interesting to see. We didn't know, we couldn't see what was in the boxes because they were all ready to be shipped, but there was a massive amount of product. So it tells you that, you know, those suppliers are good if these retailers are all using them.
Absolutely, yeah. The other thing is that where we stay in Moradabad, we're centrally located. And if anybody wishes to go off on their own, you know, because they've been dealing with a factory prior, or, you know, want sort of private negotiations, we can easily organise transport separate from ours if you so wish to do that. It's so easy, that's not a problem. You don't have to run around the trip and follow, you know, everybody that goes to this factory or that factory. We can, you know, all you got to do is speak to Megla or I or Margaret, and, you know, you can, all these things can be arranged. The other thing we found is people have been asking us since Moradabad trip happened that people want to go to other regions. This is something we've also been thinking about. And once again, it's obviously got to be on a request basis. But anybody with special travel arrangements to other areas, we can organise a lot of things for a lot of people. All you got to do is ask. Isn't that right, Megla?
Yeah, like Kevin, you arranged a trip to Agra for one of the attendees on the October trip, right? And that was happened. He came to you, and tell us about that. What happened?
Oh well, one of the attendees, we were just talking. I think after dinner one night, and I said, "Oh, I didn't see you today," and he said, "Oh, I was at the fair, but I was going to other areas, but I've seen products I want, but I was looking for shoes." And I did say, well, it is a home sort of thing. And he said, but I thought, you know, it's shoes. And so I said, no, shoes. There's a big place. There's a lot of factories in Agra. And he said, can I go to Agra? And so right away, we organised a trip to Agra the following day that he went to this big shoe factory. And he's now doing business with this factory in Agra. And it was just the flick of a switch and it was happening. Isn't that right, Megla?
Yeah,
So
and he came to you at night, and the next morning he was off to Agra. So we can arrange things very, very quickly.
Absolutely, yeah. But once again, though, I mean, you know, if people sort of do, you know, sort of request and ask, certain regions do offer certain opportunities because of raw materials and stuff. So, you know, that not everything's available in one region. So, for instance, Jaipur, you know, there's a lot of wood in Jodhpur. Rajasthan have special types of wood because of the certain carvings. It's very old. Now, all that carving's really old, Megla, isn't it? Sort of traditional carving.
Yeah.
But it all depends on the artisans. Like Agra not only do shoes, but they also do a lot of stone because of the quarries in the area. And of course, the Taj Mahal. That's where they get their marvelous sort of stone. It's not far. So these quarries, they've got a lot of local materials, raw materials, to be able to offer those products. The same in what's the other place, Megla? That's in a textile place that it's got a funny name. No.
Karur in South India.
It's textile.
Panipat.
Panipat, that's it.
Yeah, that's home furnishings and textiles. Yeah.
Panipat, it was all home furnishings. So, for instance, anybody who would like to go to that area, so it does pay before you actually come on a trip or even ask one of us what you're actually looking to source, because, you know, we can sort of narrow down the hunt so to speak, and save you a lot of time. Which this trip is all about, saving a lot of time, because a lot of people think about, sourcing and sort of just do things and browse, and but to actually go on a trip and you actually go to the fair, you're actually, it's action. You want to sort of get in there and sort of see the stuff, and you want to, get in on the action, and you want to be a part of it. And you'll find suppliers that you'll make a connection with. Some suppliers you might make a connection with. It's like you walk in the shop, you walk out of the shop. But some you'll walk in and you'll go, I've been looking for this all my life.
Yeah.
I know Margaret did when we went to Hong Kong, and we've been searching for these type of products for a long time. We goes to Hong Kong Mega Fair, we walk down an aisle.
Mark, can you take over?
All right, yes.
Yeah. And Margaret said, look at that, there's the products I want. Isn't that right, Mike?
Yeah, it is. But look, I think when you come on the trip, you've got to bear in mind, when you get to the fair, there's 3,500 suppliers. So you do have a pretty big choice.
Wide choice. Yeah,
so there's a huge choice there. And when you're there, they only have a small booth. So they don't have their whole range of products. So when we get to the factories, you're actually getting to see a lot more. So a lot of people thought that the factory tours were really valuable, as well as during the trade fair. So I think that, it's an add-on trip, but it is worthwhile to go and actually, particularly some of the people that went were actually already sourcing and made arrangements with their supplier for them to come and pick them up and take them to their factory as well. So we're flexible. We don't say, because you're coming with us, you have to be on that bus at 9. If some people didn't even do our cultural days, they actually did the fair for 5. We only go for 3 days because it becomes a little bit much for a lot of people because it's huge days. But some people actually were so happy going to the fair and so, looking for products and finding products that they went for the whole 5 days, and they didn't even, some of them even missed the Taj Mahal, which I couldn't believe, but they said, we're here and we want to not make every use of everything and go back and see that supplier again. And they'd gone and done some research and wanted to look at other things and wanted to talk about the products and altering the products and things like that. So I think, it's an opportunity, and we are fairly flexible. So, you're on the trip and you've paid to do what we do, but if you don't want to participate and you want to go off somewhere else, transport is so cheap in India that, even if you wanted to just get on an Uber and do something yourself without, us being involved, it's there. We don't own you. You can still do your own thing. So you'll find that some people, have something in their mind that they want to do, but they participate in the trip 99% of the time and then just do something that is their goal or their aim for their business as well.
Yeah,
and
some of the real serious buyers, the suppliers know, straight away if you're a serious player, and look, they'll want to do business with you. And so, they don't want to play games. They want to do business. And so they'll invite you. I know a lot of them are preoccupied before and after the fair, because it's a big ask to be able to take, a lot of their showroom to the Delhi Fair, and then they have to go back to their own region and then, sort of get back into the sort of work mode again. So, and a lot of things go quiet around the time of the Delhi Fair happening as far as the factories go, because a lot of their staff will be in attendance to the Delhi Fair. And so, a lot of the factories, when you go to the Delhi Fair and speaking to the suppliers, they'll invite you to their factories, but it'll be once the Delhi Fair is concluded, usually, not always, but sometimes, because their most important people will obviously be trying to, get the buyers from the attendance of the Delhi Fair. So bear that in mind.
Yeah. So Gail is
looking for all these great reviews.
Yeah. And Gail is definitely coming. So Gail, don't worry. We've got the special price locked for you. And so you can pay whenever you want. Don't worry at all. So yeah, you take care.
As long as she doesn't pay in Japanese yen.
Yeah, Japanese yen will be difficult for us to accept. I would never do these trips outside of MMK. They say it was 10 days, but felt like a lifetime of memories. So much we did and shared. Everyone became so close, absolutely top shelf.
Thanks, Andy.
I did 4 days at the fair with Big Joe Pito. Yeah, Andy went back to the fair
Yeah.
the day that we had to go to the factory visits and our sort of free day. So, Mark, should we also talk about all of the experts that are joining us on the trip
Yes,
this time?
certainly. Yep.
And we've got some new experts that are absolutely amazing. They've got such vast experience in retail. So, I'm just going to scroll down to the expert section. Of course, the three of us, MMK, we're there for you all the time. So, Mark, over to you. Let's talk about John.
Okay, we've got John Pollardon, who, if anyone hasn't heard of him, he is quite a big Amazon seller, as well as having FBM fulfillment in, I've forgotten, where we come on, I've forgotten. Jacksonville, that's it. Yeah, so but John's got UFM underwear and does a huge amount, not only on Amazon, but he's a very good man to learn all about Etsy and Shopify and selling off Amazon. He does the lot, and his actual fulfillment center can do all that as well. So he's a wealth of knowledge and has been sourcing from China, moved his sourcing from China to India. So he's got a pretty good story to tell, and you can learn a lot.
Just to add that John has got a suite of software in his fulfillment warehouse that he can fulfill FBM, he can fulfill FB.
Hello, John.
Hello, John.
We're talking about you, John.
This is why we haven't said anything bad about you, John.
Yeah, so anybody, and for any e-commerce needs, and for John can fulfill those needs from his warehouse if you use him, obviously.
All right, and then we've got a new expert joining us this time.
Kathy?
We've got Kathy Lloyd now. Kathy's actually from Melbourne. She's not very far away from us at all. Now, as you can see, she's been selling on Amazon since 2018, and she has actually visited the Delhi Fair. She was actually there last year as well, and she's been before that again. So, and she's travelled to fairs in Vietnam and things. So she's got quite a bit of knowledge about sourcing and doing all that sort of Amazon things. She also does quite a bit of work with Etsy, so she's very good in that. So she's got a lot to offer people as well, a lot of different, lots of information. I think learning to do Etsy and things like that and talk to people who do them, because sometimes people don't even think about it. They just focused on their Amazon, but if they talk to someone who's doing other sort of avenues of e-commerce as well, it's a good way, to learn and have, someone that you can think about it and go back the next day and say, you told me that, but, how does that work? So I think it's really good, to have somebody who's got some different knowledge as well. And that's where Kathy will be able to help out, as well as just with all the Amazon sourcing and products, because I know she found lots of products at the fair last time when she was there as well.
Yeah, and Kathy does.
She's actively.
Yeah, Kathy does a lot of coaching too.
Yeah.
Yeah. She sources her own products from India, and she also sources products for her students from India. So she's got a lot of experience with India products. All right, and one of my favorites.
I've got Kylie Armstrong now. Kylie was actually an attendee on our trip last year, but Kylie has got, as you can see, 25 years experience in design and product industry. So she's had a fairly long career in the sourcing network, not obviously for Amazon all that time, but in textiles, in the real world, I suppose, not in the e-com world. And she also works a lot with people. She works for a company actually that helps Amazon sellers in the commercial side. So she manages people's accounts, helps people get their accounts set up, does all sorts of things, runs accounts for people, or she manages people who do that. She's actually the manager there. So she's got a big lot of knowledge about Amazon, how it all works, and all those things, as well as sourcing. And I know she was a very busy lady on the last trip. She was going, right, I'm on the go. Who wants to come with me? But just don't get in my way. I'm busy. I've got all these things to see. But if you want to learn from me, follow me. So, I mean, she was great with people and really helpful. And I'm sure that, she has just got so much, once again, to teach you and help you with and guide you. And I think, because these people both, Kathy and Kylie, have been doing Amazon for a while, you can sort of look outside the square and, you know, look at a product and think, oh, I could also do that with that. It just becomes a bit of an art after a while when you're constantly looking at things and you're dealing with people in different areas. So you learn a lot more. So I think you'll find Kylie is really good as well. So who else we got? Anyone else?
And then we've got Steven Selikoff.
Okay, now most people would know Stephen, I would imagine, but Stephen actually is heavily involved in the retail side, in helping people source and package and get into retail. So if you're looking at moving to the retail side, he is the man, because he's the one who knows all about converting from, or doing both. You can do e-commerce and retail, but if you want to move over to the retail side and learn how you do that, and, you know, as he will tell you, e-commerce is only a very small part of product sourcing and selling, because a lot more products are sold in the big wide world than just in e-commerce. So, you know, he's also got a lot of information that, you know, can, and I mean, he originally started back on Amazon. He can tell you his whole story, but so he has got a lot to tell about his life.
Stephen does a lot of product development. He's got his own product development academy too. No?
Yeah, he does. Right. Yep. Yeah. So he does. So he does a lot of things. He's got a fairly big, I suppose, agenda in his life, hasn't he? He's busy.
Yeah. But I think,
and a lot of the products that, go ahead, Kevin.
Go on, Megan. No, go.
I was just saying that a lot of the products that you'll find at the Delhi Fair are actually ideal for retail. They're, you know, because a lot of these manufacturers are already selling to retailers in the US, UK. So, you know, their packaging is retail ready, and the products are really good for retail because you can touch and feel the products and see the quality of the products. So, I mean, that's one of the things that Stephen told me. You know, as soon as he entered the trade show in the afternoon, he came to me and said, "Oh my God, these products are amazing for retail." So, yeah. All right, and who else have we got? Okay, CJ.
Yeah, well, CJ is absolutely awesome to have on the trip, because he knows everything about what can happen in Amazon, in the Amazon world. He's not only, I suppose, a lawyer who can help you, but he gets very involved in all of the Amazon workings. So he does have a pretty big understanding of selling on Amazon, the pain points that people have, and how everything actually works. So you can pick up so many great tips from him. And it's also good to know if you ever need a lawyer when you've done something wrong, or Amazon think you've done something wrong and you need help, he's the great guy to sort that out. We've used him once, we had to, and it was great. He got us out of trouble. So not that it was our fault we were in trouble, but he got us back up on Amazon. So yeah.
And actually, we've got another lawyer joining the trip, and he's not on the website yet, but Jeff Schick from Schick Legal, he is also joining us on the trip. And he came as an attendee the last time, and he really, really loved it. And he's coming back on the trip this time, and he'll also be giving, you know, sharing some information and giving a presentation at the conference that we do. So yeah, he's another lawyer. We've got two lawyers this time on the trip. Andy says John Paladin is an absolute wonder with a very big heart, looking at opening an app the other channels with him once my stock loosens up. Yeah, John is awesome. 87% of my sales are through retail with Steven Selikoff is one of the small handful of people that really knows retail. Yes, and currently he's at one of the Atlanta marts with some of his students and launching their products. So he's been posting videos from there. Very exciting. All right, next, Aaron.
Yeah, we've got Aaron Hughes. Now, Aaron actually is a very successful Amazon seller, and he's been, you know, in the sourcing game since 2014, but he's been selling on Amazon since 2018. And he's got a really, really good brand and business, which if you come on the trip, he'll tell you all about his brand and how it all works. He's quite open with his story. And he also now has his own business called E-commerce Wallet, which he can do product photography, he can write listings, do A+ content, all those things. So he not only is a seller, he knows how things should be done for Amazon, how it should be written, all those things. So, you know, you can talk to him as well and learn a lot from Aaron, because he not only sells, he actually writes and sees lots of people's products, lots of people's listings. So he's got a lot of knowledge going around in his head as well, because he's got quite a good team, and he's great if you want product photography and things done, because he's in India, so it's a matter of just getting your product moved down to, he's in Hyderabad, which is sort of central India, then bringing it back to America or Australia or whatever, and paying a lot to get your product photography done locally. You can get it done over there for a very cheap freight cost, instead of paying to get samples moved around the world.
Mark, Aaron's an American, but has lived in India since 2014 or something.
Yeah, he has. Yeah.
But because he's based there, like Mark said, if you sort of got products and you want photography, instead of sending it all around the world, you can simply send it to Hyderabad. And in India, Megla, it's rather cheap, isn't it, to be able to transport internally?
Yeah. Yes, local couriers are very cheap. Yeah.
Very cheap. So so you can send stuff from your factory, get Aaron to do the photographer for you, and it'll be a lot cheaper than other services around, I guess.
Yeah. All right, so those are all of the e-commerce coaches that we have, and one of the things that we've tried to do is we've tried to bring on experts that have experience in sourcing from India and that are actively sourcing from India for their own brands. So most of the people that you see over here, they'll be able to tell you that, hey, this product will work, this product might not work, this is how you can differentiate this product to make it better and increase your profitability. And so our objective with all of these these experts that we have on the trip is for these experts to be able to guide you in terms of product selection, in terms of working with suppliers, negotiating, packaging, all of the aspects, because they are doing it themselves, for their own brands. And you're with these experts throughout the trip. So as Mark earlier said, when you're at breakfast or lunch or dinner or in the bus, they're there. They have nowhere to go. So you have them for 10 days, that is, 8 days. Or 10 days if you join the Moradabad trip. But you have them for at least 8 days with you. And, how much is that worth, right? Having all of these experts with you for 8 days, that is absolutely amazing. Look at this, CJ saying, smoking hot group of coaches. You simply cannot buy knowledge like this anywhere else. So true, CJ. So true. Yeah.
Thanks, CJ.
Totally agree. All right, so let's quickly talk about the sourcing coaches, and then we will go to the itinerary. So let me go over the sourcing coaches. First of all, we got Gunjan Katrak from Subsource, and most of the people in our community know Gunjan. She's got a lot of experience in sourcing from India. She's really a powerhouse of knowledge and information, and she's worked with big companies like Ralph Lauren, Banana Republic, Woolworths. She sourced for all of these big companies, and she basically specializes in garments and textiles, but she has a good understanding of all other categories as well. Again, really, really good resource. And on the previous trip, some of the people took Gunjan with them to the exhibitors. They had questions about a specific product, or they weren't sure about the pricing of a product. They said, hey, Gunjan, can you come with me and go to this stall and help me talk to this supplier? So they're there with you on the show floor. In fact, throughout the trip, they're with us. But specifically on the trade show floor, you have access to all of these sourcing coaches if you have any questions while you're talking to these suppliers. And then we've got, of course, Kumud. She's, I think, one of the most sought-after experts on our trips. And Kumud is, she's got really a lot of experience in hard goods and handicrafts and wooden and metal products. And she's really good with negotiating. Again, she's available for you on the trade show. At the trade show, she's available for everybody. And, she can walk around with you on the show floor. She can help you negotiate. She can help you. She can help tell you about the quality of products. You might see one product and you might think that, oh, what's the difference between, using mango wood versus another wood? And she has all of that technical knowledge about metal and wooden products. So another great resource if you're sourcing from India. Then we've got also Hanos Patel, who's one of the co-founders of Subsource. And again, he also deals with suppliers on a day-to-day basis. So knows a lot about, product development, negotiating, payments, logistics, a lot of experience. We got Rajat Gupta, who's from Panoramic Sourcing. Again, a lot of experience in sourcing from India. over 15 years of experience, specifically in fashion products. And he's worked for, he sourced for companies like Abercrombie and Fitch, Roots Canada, Prana, Drycon, Celio, a lot of global brands, he's working with. And again, Rajat and his partner Ajit, also similar experience. Both of them are available to attendees during the show in case you have any questions. Then we've also got Josh Hoffman, who is a sourcing agent. Also, he runs Veritas Sourcing, and he's an American living in India. So he's available to us as well during the trip. And then we've got our freight forwarder, Samiksha Sachdeva. She's also going to be there. So if you have any questions about shipping, logistics, customs, Samiksha is going to be there to answer those questions. So those are all of the experts that we have on the trip. And during the conference, we invite even more people. So we've got our solicitor, we've got a packaging company, and a few other service providers as well. So it's basically an A to Z of all the services that you need when you're sourcing from India. We've got you covered. All right. So that's anything else that you wanted to add about the experts, Mark and Kevin, before we move on to the itinerary?
I don't think so. We could go on all day, but no, move on.
I think we comprehensively, Megla, we've got a great list of people as always. But most of all, they're all got the knowledge, got the knowledge that you need on a trip like this. And if you approach any of them, you'll get expert advice from any one of them. So.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, so let's move on to the itinerary and let's talk about the itinerary of the trip. So here we go. All right, so March 13th to the 20th, those are the dates. Now, before the trip starts, we will do a series of pre-trip webinars. And overall, we'll do about 5 or 6 webinars before the trip and then 4 or 5 webinars after the trip. But the pre-trip webinars are basically to prep you for the trip, to guide you on things like, your flights, how to book your flights, how to do your visas, how to, what to expect when you go to India. So we've got a guidelines document that's, I think, like 6 or 7 pages long that has very detailed guidelines on what to expect when you go there, what to pack, how much money to bring. And these are just examples of things that are included in that document. But we literally cover each and everything, related to traveling to India, because we understand that traveling overseas is not easy. It's uncomfortable. Many people on our previous trips had not even traveled out of their country. I mean, let alone India. And India is, what's the right word to describe India? I mean, it's beautiful, but it's also chaotic, and it can be very overwhelming.
Absolutely.
Busy.
There's a lot of hustle and bustle. I mean, there's a lot of people, and there's it's not like you go in Australia and you've got, there's a lot of room in my backyard, right? And I can walk down the street, and there's a lot of room in my street where I can walk. But, in India, there's a lot of people that live there. So, you've got to take that into account. And there's a lot of people trying to get from A to Z every day.
Yeah.
And I'm maybe on the same road as you some days, in Delhi especially, Megla, yeah?
Exactly. So it can get very overwhelming if you're traveling alone, and if you have not traveled to India previously, and especially if you have not traveled to outside of your country. So that's why it's really helpful to join a trip like ours, because we take care of everything from start to end. We are going to be, we'll pick you up from the airport and we'll bring you to the hotel. We'll help you get SIM cards, and the entire thing is like a very VIP experience. All right,
Well,
so
Maggie,
day one is arrival day.
Maggie, you invented VIP, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Okay, so Monday, March 13th is arrival day, and you can arrive at any time of the day. There's nothing scheduled on this day. You just arrive and you can rest a little bit. If you arrive early in the day, you can go out shopping in the nearby areas, or you can just relax by the pool, have a beer, have a drink. We'll provide lunch and dinner, of course, on this day as well. But it's just to relax, and if you want, you can sleep in, because a lot of people are jet lagged, so you can also rest on this day. Then we on Tuesday March 14th, which is day 2, we do a full day India sourcing conference. There's welcome introductions to all of the experts. And at this conference, we're basically, talking about sourcing best practices, and we've got all of our service providers that you can meet with. And then we've got a gala dinner and Bollywood night on this day as well. March 15th, we start with the trade show. So we leave early morning for the trade show. We spend the entire day at the trade show, and all of the experts and sourcing experts are available for you at the trade show. And then the evenings, we sit down with the experts and do roundtable mastermind sessions. And attendees at the previous trip found these sessions very helpful because you can ask any questions that you might have about products that you saw at the fair. The experts are basically there to guide you as you select products. And then day 4, Thursday, March 16th, we go back to the trade show, and then we have mastermind sessions again in the evening, and networking, drinks, and dinner. Oh, by the way, we forgot to mention, we've got drinks almost every day. I think there's just one day that we don't have drinks for you guys, but almost on every day we've got like an open bar. So for 2 hours, you can drink as much as you want. And this is alcoholic drinks, not just non-alcoholic. All right. So, and then we've added a rest and recreation day after 2 days of the trade show, because we realize that people get really, really overwhelmed, and there's so many products, so many suppliers, so much walking to do. So we decided to add a rest day in between the trade show days, so that for people who don't want to do the trade show for 3 consecutive days, they can relax and rest a little bit. But some people might want to keep going, so they can go back to the trade show if they wanted to. And then we also have scheduled a visit to the Palia School. This is a nonprofit school that we support. Every attendee that joins the trip will be sponsoring one child at the Palia, and this is included in the fee that you pay. So we visit the school. It's a very emotional kind of experience for a lot of people, because you see these underprivileged kids, in this environment, and it's really nice to. I mean, they are so happy to see us, right? I mean, Mari and Kevin, what was your experience like at the Palia last time?
Yeah, it was fantastic. We hadn't sort of seen them for 3 years, and we'd done video crosses all through COVID, not on many occasions, and it was a little bit emotional when we actually sort of got back there to see the people, and some to meet them for the first time. But the children were so excited to sort of see us as a group, visit their school. It's a fantastic charity, and once you actually go to the region, because it is one of the poor regions of Delhi where this school is, but the people who run it are absolute angels that sort of do all this stuff for the kids. But it's fantastic, so we love being a part of their vision for these kids, and we love going back there every year to sort of visit.
No dry eyes at the Palia when we saw the kids and their excitement.
That's so true. Yeah.
Totally. So, and then we also do a little bit of sightseeing and shopping, and then we have a networking dinner in the evening. So our entire program is very flexible, and a lot of what we do is optional. So if you're very tired, for example, you can rest on this day. If you want to sleep in, you don't have to visit the Dipalia school. You don't have to go sightseeing and shopping. You can just rest in the hotel. If you want to go back to the trade show, you can do that as well. So there's a lot of flexibility built into the entire program, and you can customize the program based on what specifically you want. Maybe you want to visit additional factories, and we can arrange some, additional factory visits for you on this day as well.
Look, people might even want to do some research, Megla. I mean, some people are so excited that they've seen some products they think are real winners that they might want to spend a half a day doing some research so they can go back the next day and maybe order some product. And so we're trying to be flexible to suit everyone's ways of wanting to work with while they're away, I think.
Yeah. Rest when you get home, so much to do and no time to waste there. That is so true. That's what I think too. I mean,
I do too, Megla. I'm with you on that one. I think you've got to make the most of your time there. But business is business, but there's a lot of cultural things that you wouldn't want to miss if if you visited India. It's business is not just everything that it is. But even you go to visit a factory, there's some cultural things that you need to be aware of. There's a few cultural sensitivities that you need to be aware of if you're going to sort of go to someone's home, for instance. It's the same all around the world, I guess. But they will. The Indian suppliers will want to welcome buyers into their home. It's given,
we'll
isn't it?
talk about that on the trip, Kev. Don't give away all the secrets.
Okay.
Right. And then day 6, we go back to the trade show. And in the evening, we go to a nice pub in Noida where we have networking, drinks, and dinner. And, this is a pub, so there's loud music and dancing. But if you're not into music and dancing, we also have a separate restaurant for you where you can, go have a quiet meal. So again, optional, and you can choose from, choose between the two. All right, day 7, we do a day trip to Taj Mahal, or if you don't want to do Taj Mahal, you can actually go back to the trade show because the trade show is on until March 19th. So you can actually go back to the trade show on this day as well. And then once we are back from Taj Mahal in the evening, we do our farewell drinks and dinner. And day 8, March 20th, is the end of India sourcing trip. So that's when you fly out of Delhi airport, and you can book a flight for any time of the day because we don't have any activities planned on this day. And we also provide lunch over here. And then after the trip, we do post-trip follow-up webinars with our e-commerce coaches, with our sourcing coaches, so that if you have any questions as you are communicating with suppliers and getting samples, if you have any questions, you can get the experts to answer those questions. So that's the main trip. And then just quickly talking about the Moradabad factory tours. So this is an optional section of the trip, and you have to pay a separate fees for this. So day 8, which is March 20th, we depart from Moradabad by road early in the morning, and we do factory tours in the afternoon. We have lunch there at the hotel, and then we leave for factory tours, and then in the evening we do networking dinner. Day 9, we've got factory tours all day, and we try to visit a number of different types of factories, some mid-sized factories and some very large, well-established factories, so that you get an idea of how production is done in different types of factories. In terms of product categories, Moradabad specializes in metal and wooden products, so we try to get a mix of metal, wood, and sometimes things like macrame products as well. And then Wednesday, March 22nd, we do one factory tour in the morning. We have lunch, and then we depart by road for Delhi airport. So you can book your flight for the evening, say after 9 p.m. On this day. But if you don't get a flight after 9 p.m., then you can stay overnight in an airport hotel and then fly out the next day on March 23rd. And in fact, some people stayed on after India sourcing trip last time because it was Diwali right after the trip, and they wanted to experience Diwali in India. And so that's an option to consider as well. You can stay on after the trip, or you could even arrive a couple of days earlier. You could even arrive, before the trip starts on March 13th, and you could do factory visits or, just see the sites.
But anybody wanting to do that, folks, just speak to Megla, Margaret, or I for any special trips that you have in mind. Look, we know a lot of people in India, and we don't know them all. There's a billion people. But we do know a lot of important people within this industry, and I'm sure we can help one way or the other. So please ask.
Absolutely. Right. Anything else that you want to add, Mark, about the itinerary?
Oh, I don't think so. I think it's just really something that if you're looking to start selling particularly on Amazon or in e-commerce and looking for products and product ideas, I think it's the way to go, is to actually get on that plane and get over there, because you might find other products, you'll find great manufacturers. You could spend 6 or 8 months looking for manufacturers that suit your needs. You can walk around the fair We've got 3,500 suppliers at that fair. So if you can't find a supplier there, you're obviously not looking too hard, because there are so many fantastic suppliers. It's like, I don't know. I just kept thinking, if I had a retail shop, I would be here getting, smaller lots of all these and putting them in my retail store, because there are just so many products that you could do, particularly, not probably on Amazon so much. If you wanted to just do lots of little beautiful things, it's amazing. You could just, I'm still in love with the Christmas tree.
It's not hard. It's not hard to fill containers. That's for sure.
Yeah. No, it'd be so easy. Yeah. So it does give people, I think it gives people looking, and there must be so many small businesses that are sourcing, from a distributor, and paying, probably almost what retail price, not with a lot of margin, who could actually go over to like the Delhi Fair and find enough products for their whole year, for their store. And you do meet, when you're going around, quite often you'll see us, and they're a serious buyer, and they're there with the supplier, and they've got stuff all over the floor. And we actually went into a couple, and they said, "Oh, mind all that. That some buyers already ordered that for next year." So there are a lot of people go and do that type of buying as well. They're not all people looking for Amazon. So you're mixing with all sorts, like huge buyers, down to the small shops.
Even when you go to lunch, guys, at the fair, you don't know who you're sitting next to. I've sat next to the buyers from some of the big brands in America, in Europe, and you just strike up a conversation, and you can learn lots and lots of things just by having lunch over a sandwich, because all you got to do is converse with people. They're not, wherever you go, you do not know who you're sitting next to.
Right. To understand the full potential of the factory culture and potential, Moradabad should be a non-negotiable. From pick up with Ronnie at the airport to the drop off at the end, quality service and just so well arranged. Oh, thank you so much, Andy.
Well, you don't have to think about anything. If you can actually read the Telegram messages on your phone, that's all you have to do. That's the qualifying thing, is to look at what time you have to be on the bus, what time you have to be back on the bus, or whatever. And everything is organised. You don't have to worry about, should I get this? How am I going to get here? How am I going to get there? Everything, and you're told when you get there, come here, go there to do this. We show you how to do everything. So I think, particularly if you have never been to a trade show before, it's so much simpler when you're guided. And we've got our own VIP lounge, so we can meet in the VIP lounge. So so there's quite a lot to I think be said for going with a group, than walking around by yourself at a trade show. We've done that many, many years ago in China, and it was just a waste. You're just wandering along aimlessly. No one else to really communicate with. It's great to be able to find a product and go to someone else, come and say, what do you think of this? Do you think that's a good idea? And that's the beauty. Everyone on the trip will share, because everyone is on the same path, and there's so many products to choose from. And nobody's going to go and pinch your idea. There's so many other things to work on.
I just recall a certain moment that when we started, the first night we did the masterminds in the restaurant, and people were just so excited that they just couldn't contain themselves to be able to talk about the products they'd seen at the fair. And as you walked around the room, you just, people were just so, so excited to given the opportunity to talk about the opportunities that they saw at the fair that day or the day before, because we started it on the second day, did we not? But in that room was filled with a lot of enthusiasm, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think too, because you've actually touched and felt the products and you can see them on, you look on a catalogue and you might think that, I don't know, candle holders 12 inches high, but in actual fact it's 20. Like, you can't actually get the feel, and you don't know whether it's heavy or light. But if you're actually picking everything up, you know what you're getting. You know whether it's something you want to do. Well, you don't want to be waiting for a sample for 3 months and mucking around with all these different things and spending a fortune. You could probably pay for your trip if you start getting samples sent from all different places from catalogues that you don't go ahead with because they're not what you think they are, because it's very hard to tell from a picture exactly what you're getting. So I think this is, it's a no-brainer to actually go touch and feel everything and know, strike it out or leave it into your book straight away.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, real quick before we sign off, I just want to go over some of the cultural activities that we do and share some photos and just talk about the cultural activities, because I think this is also very important. If you go into a country like India that has such a rich history and culture, you want to experience a little bit of the culture as well. So my favorite part is going to Taj Mahal. It never gets old. Every time in the trip, I accompany the group, and every time it's as amazing as it was the first time. So this is all of us in front of Taj Mahal. It was hot on that day, but it was a very beautiful day. I mean, the sky was so clear blue
sky.
blue sky, very nice and sunny.
That was a trip we actually went by train and went home on a coach, on a bus, didn't we?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And these are some photos of people. Oh, this is such a beautiful photo of both of you in front of Taj Mahal. Oh my God, you love birds. And that's Andy with all the girls. This is the restaurant where we went to for lunch in Agra, and taking selfies with some of the locals. In fact, Kevin, you were quite popular as well with the locals at Taj Mahal, right? Everyone was coming up to you to take selfies with them.
Yeah. Well, I think the Indian people that go, I mean, it's a bit of a homage for them to go to the Taj Mahal, and they get dressed up in their finery, and all the little kids, they dress them in their little finest clothes. But some of the kids are gorgeous. So I was actually going around kidnapping some of the kids and holding the kids and taking photographs.
So now these people's special day has now got Kevin embedded in their photos.
Poor kids have got to grow up.
John's saying no pictures of the monkeys.
Kev is a movie star. Yeah, no pictures of monkeys. Yeah, you probably have a few.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, of course, Bollywood night. This is also so much fun. So you can dress up in Indian attire. We gave saris to everybody to wear, and the gents bought their, traditional Indian clothes, which is kurta pajama. That's Andy looking absolutely smashing in his red kurta and white pajama, and everybody was on stage. And
It's a great
and then we've got people applying henna tattoos as well. So even the guys were, look at this, Chris Thomas got a henna tattoo as well. That was so cool. And there's a lot of dancing. That's one of the main ideas of this evening, that you just kind of let loose and enjoy yourself. So there's a lot of dancing. We have a dance troupe that does a couple of Bollywood dances. There's, it's loud. There's loud music and lights, and it's very lively kind of atmosphere. And that's Aaron Hughes showing off his Bollywood moves. And that's all of us all dressed up in our Indian saris and kurta pajamas for this beautiful photo. All right. So I think we have covered everything, Mark. Kevin, have we missed anything?
No, I don't think so. Did you say that included is like at the end of the trip, the people get taken back to the airport? So we never leave them alone.
Yes.
We organize everything for them.
Yes, totally. So it's an all-inclusive trip. I think that's a very important thing that we have taken care of.
In a lot of cases, you don't have to worry about tips or anything like that. We've taken care of everything. All you've got to do is just turn up, just walk in, walk out, so to speak. You don't have to worry about those little incidentals. We've taken care of everything. So.
Exactly. All of the logistics are taken care of. So all you need to do is arrive at Delhi airport, and from there on, just follow the messages that you see in our Telegram group, and then be in the lobby at a certain time. Lunch is at this time. And I think in the previous trip, a few attendees, once they went back to their countries after the trip, they were saying, "Oh, we're feeling so lost. We don't have any Telegram messages telling us where we need to be at what time." But yeah, I mean, and the reason we do this is so that you can focus on your business, because you're there to find suppliers, learn about India, learn about the culture, learn how to do business with suppliers, find products, and engage with all of these experts that are accompanying you on this trip and other attendees. So we don't want you to worry about, oh my God, is this food good enough? Or, how am I going to get to the fair now? Or I want to go shopping. How do I do that? Is the taxi driver going to charge me too much? Is the auto driver going to charge me too much? We take care of those little things as well. We teach you how to go around. If you want to explore the city, we tell you that, hey, you can take an auto, and I do encourage everybody to take an auto at least once. An auto is
once.
at least once. It's an experience. But we tell you that, hey, if you're going from here to here, this is how much you should pay an auto so that you're not overcharged or, things like that. Yeah.
But most of all, it's about the connections, the networking, and, the lifelong friends that you'll sort of make along the way.
Exactly. The connections, that they're just invaluable.
Yeah.
So I think that's about it. We wanted to, talk about the trip and also encourage you to sign up before Jan 15th so that you can save $500. Our early bird pricing is on, and it's going to end on Jan 15th. So take advantage of this offer and sign up for the trip. It will be a trip of a lifetime. We guarantee that. It will surely be a trip of a lifetime. Stop sharing.
And obviously get the best deal that you can. Hey, the $500 you can save, you can take that as money in your wallet. And
you won't even need that much to spend.
No,
that's the thing, because those rupees go so far.
Yeah,
we've covered most of it. So so you don't need a lot of money when you get there, because all your meals are included. Most, 90%, unless you want to stay at the bar till 2 o'clock in the morning, we don't cover that. But we cover drinks over dinner. So really, unless you go to a market and buy yourself some souvenirs for friends and family.
Well, I'm sure some of the ladies, when they go to those markets, can spend $500 pretty easily.
Oh, I don't know. That's a lot of rupees.
Unless they're buying pashmina shawls.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, you could buy a lot of pashmina shawls, couldn't you? Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so I think let's wrap up over here, and we look forward to seeing you guys in India. It's not very far; it's just 2 months from now, and we're going to be starting with. Yeah, exactly. Weeks. We're counting down the days, and we're going to start our pre-trip webinars on Feb 15th or so, or around Feb 15th. So now is great time to start looking at flights, start booking your flights. You get good rates as well, and sign up for the trip.
Booked our flights. We're organised.
Yes, we'll help you find flights as well.
Yeah, we're locked and loaded. We're ready to go.
Yeah, you're ready to go.
Our visas, because we had our last visa. It lasted a year, so I don't need a visa, and I've got my flight. So we just need to pack that case and jump on the plane. Can't wait.
Drop the dog.
Drop the dog, yeah. And look, and just meet so many fantastic people. I honestly can't believe how great it was meeting different people from all over the world. I mean, I think for us as the organisers, it was so nice to meet so many, different personalities, but everyone got on well. It was like one great big party, most of the time. Everyone was so chatty. I mean, sometimes you think, oh, can't hear myself think, because we'd be on the bus and everyone's like competition, who's talking the loudest. But I think for us, it's just meeting, like we had people from France, we had people from the UK, we had people from the US, Australia, New Zealand, where else? God, we had lots of people from odd little places. But
Morocco.
So you're meeting people from all over the world, and they've all got Thailand. They've got different stories to tell. Bali, we have people from everywhere. So you do. So you get to and that's an experience in itself. Spending a week with someone, and learning a bit about them or how they run their business from the other side of the world. It's great.
Truly invaluable. All right, guys. So let's end this session here, and we look forward to seeing you in India. And we'll of course see you on more of our live sessions. We've got a few live sessions planned for this month and the next as well. So we'll be seeing you almost every month. Almost every week for the next couple of weeks. So all right, take care, everyone, and we'll see you around. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye, everyone.